Off the chicken, really the seven samples we had were all very strong. Number one was fairly moist and had a nice flavor. I really enjoyed number two. I thought its texture and tenderness and flavor were it was one of my favorites. Three had a little bit of a tang to it, but it was a very good chicken. Four was extremely moist. The flavor could have been a little more unique or a little stronger. Five was good. Maybe a little more smoke than the rest. Six was my favorite of the seven, in both flavor and tenderness. And seven was also pretty good.
As far as the chicken, I thought one was highly over sauced and too smoky. Second and third one had a good flavor. Fourth one had a good flavor. Fifth one had a decent taste, but it was so far overcooked it was dried out. And no moisture at all in my piece that I had on my plate. Six was a very good piece of chicken. I did not like the spice. The white meat that they served on the seventh piece that was on our plate had a good flavor, had moisture to it, but the thigh meat was a little starting to overcook, and there was a little bit of bite that went with that particular piece of chicken that I didn't care for, a little spicy.
I thought they were all well-cooked entries, but as the other people said, the first one, a little bit too much sauce on it. The second one was a little dry. I think my favorite one that had a smoky flavor was probably the fifth one. And entry 7, it was well cooked, but it was a little too spicy. I think maybe cayenne. It was a little too hot for my taste.
I felt that the number one entry had too much sauce. It also has it did have in the sauce a hint of bourbon. I think I got that on my second little tasting. The second one was, I thought, a little too dry. The third one, it was overall the entries were all pretty compatible. My favorite was course number 6. I thought it had the best flavors for the day. The fifth one was a little too dry, and it might have been just the process of getting it to us that dried it out, but I thought they had a good flavor, but it was dry. And the last one, number 7, our 7th entry, I thought was entirely too salty. And I like a little heat, but I didn't think it had too much, but I think it was the salt.
I seem to agree with just about everybody else who's been talking about the flavours. My opinion was number 7, which I thought was the nicest out of all of them, but the first 3, I quite agree with what you've said about the salt. But no, overall, very good for competition.
Well, I thought number 1 was a little heavy with sauce. Number 2 was dry. No moisture, number 2. I guess my favorite was number 3 and probably number 6. I like 3. I like the taste, and actually I thought the tenderness in number 3 was better than any of the other chicken that I had. Was it number 7 that was too spicy for me, and number 5 was really dry. I didn't like that. So, but there were 3 or 4 of them that were fairly comparable, and personally I thought number 3 stood out on mine better than any of the rest.